We're live. What's
Good
up,
morning.
Jennifer Lacey?
Good morning, Jesse. How are you?
You know, I have had 2 nights of amazing sleep,
Nice.
and that's after like 3 nights of super, super restless sleep. When I woke up this morning, that was the first thing I thought. Like, usually I'll wake up and kind of my brain's already running a little bit. But the first I was like, man, that was some badass sleep. Like, that was good.
You don't realize it's like you don't realize it beforehand, but afterwards you're just like, oh, like that. Yes, I completely agree.
Yeah, totally. And which is perfect because now I'm fully energized to have the conversation
Great.
about what to do about difficult conversations. And I want to give a shout out to our sister, No BS tribe member, emotional bungee jumper, Miss Sarah, because
Mhm.
she did her boy bass live stream yesterday with Donella and Sean, and they were talking about this.
Yes.
Well, at least the piece that I caught, they were talking about, and man, there was some really meaty stuff that both Donella and Sean shared that I think are helpful for people. So, folks, y'all got to
Awesome.
go catch that one. And so it's interesting, right? Like it wasn't planned that way, but this is kind of how it's working out. And so, but you've had fun. I heard you took like a mini trip to Oklahoma just to hang out and.
It was not a fun, okay, it was not a fun trip. That one wasn't. I was traveling a lot this week, also trying to coordinate being places that I needed to be as a mom. And so just trying to navigate, that not the balance, but just the trying to be where I needed to be for everybody.
Yeah.
And sometimes you don't have control. And so got on a flight, no delays. We're gonna be good, we're gonna land, everything's gonna be great. And then we get to Dallas and they're just circling and circling. And after 30 minutes, they're like, yeah, we're not gonna be able to land, but we're going to Tulsa. So everything's good. We're going to get some more gas and we're going to be good to go. We get to Tulsa and our pilots said, yeah, we timed out. So you are going to have to hang out until we get some more pilots for us. So it was just a very late night, but I made it home. Everything's good.
Yes. Well, and we got some people in the chat that are glad
Okay.
you made it home too. Actually, I'm going to try this new feature that StreamYard has enabled. And so I don't know if you can see it on your end, but when people comment, it's going to come up on the screen automatically now.
Oh.
So we'll see how that works. But first, we got Mr. Jim Guntorius says, good morning. Oh, he's got witnesses. So we got to take it easy, Jen. He's got company on the deck. We don't want to get him in trouble. What's up, Jim? And then Miss Maria.
Good morning. I got to see her this week. I got to have dinner with her and Lila this week.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna have to catch up on all the details there because I've been missing me some Maria. And then Abbas, what's going on, my brother? He says, heard the conversation, seriously learned a lot. Fantastic. Well, I'm hoping to learn a lot today. Again, this subject, I love this subject, right? What to do about difficult conversations. And I like it because it's complicated. Right.
Yes.
And there's a lot of ways to approach it.
There's not one way.
Correct. There's not one way, but I think I guess that kind of also reinforces the idea that there's a lot of ways to do it poorly. And so hopefully, rather, the goal is to give the folks out there in the Omniverse some things that they can actually apply and like level up their game, because everybody out there's got to have difficult conversations.
Yes.
But before that, we got to do the housekeeping. Jen, you want to let
them know? We do have to do the housekeeping. So welcome everyone that's here today. We appreciate you. We do ask if you are out there and you just happen to run across us, like, what are these two knuckleheads doing this morning? We welcome you. And also those that have been tuning in on Saturday mornings, but you maybe did not contribute to the conversation. You didn't type in the chat, anything like that. So if you've kind of been out there lurking and now you're willing to take one more step in, we would love for you to just type in the chat a blue heart. And no commitment. All it is just letting us know we have some new tribe members out there because we want to recognize you and we want to acknowledge you. But really, we just want our tribe to know that you're new, because then what they do is they go and connect with you. They follow your content. They engage with you, because we are continuing to grow our tribe. And so that is what we ask, is if you are new out there, please put a blue heart. Write blue heart. You just right click, go to emojis. You can put the blue heart in there. But that just, again, signals that we need to come and swarm you and support you.
Yes. And I want to give a shout out to Halisi Tambuzi. It's a security thing for whatever reason that it won't show his name, but I can see him on the actual live feed. Halisi, you were here last time. Appreciate you coming back this time.
Yes.
That's what it's all about. And then to reinforce to all the tribe members and the lurkers, the lovable lurkers out there, when you comment, and drop your thing, drop the blue heart, do emojis, whatever in the chat, it's going to get your name in the randomizer, which is the exciting part. And so your name will get thrown into the thing. And then at the top of the hour, we will go through and do the little raffle. And the person that gets selected gets a 1 month seat to Emotional Bungee Jumpers and the Cultivation Crew. So if you want to get in there, make sure you, leave a comment, whatever. And again, lurkers, I love you, man. I wish I knew you were there, but in my heart, I could feel it. I could feel that you're there. So we got a good blue heart. That one is coming from Halizi. So hit him up. Y'all, he's given the signal. The bat signal is out, looking to connect and expand the community. Can you see the little comment?
It's like in the box in the bottom.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's a new feature that StreamYard just released. I want to test it out. We'll see, if it's fun or not. But the idea here is because we got people coming in from Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn and your channel, my channel, it'll show everybody's comments now right here on this little window. Yeah. So, that's what it says it's going to do.
Okay.
Now
we'll see.
The early ones, because I turned it on late. But anyways, here we go. Okay. So I'm hoping. How do we do that? What do we do about difficult conversations? Who's going to give us the silver bullets for that, Jen?
Right. Well, where did the topic come from? So I just want to hit that a little bit. Last week we wrapped up our kind of Lean in Love refresh. And, as we went through our 5 S's, finished with sustain, and then we had an after party. And in the after party, some of the carryover was, it's great to put all these cool things in place and to have systems and to have, this is what we're going to do as a structure, but it's also sometimes hard to have those conversations at the end whenever everything's rolling and then someone's just not bought in or someone's not doing what, maybe what they're supposed to be doing. And I think that was the after party conversation. I believe maybe Jared is the one that started it. It was just like, hey, sometimes, there's people and you need to have the conversation with them. And sometimes you even have them. And if they're not receptive or they're not receiving it or they're not getting it, what do you do? So it was a really good, we dug in a lot, really deep. And I think that was what triggered us to go, well, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah. No, I love it. And one of the things, I'm going to steal this. Actually, I need to make shirts or something of it. It was Sean, right? Sean Moran came to this conclusion. We were on a jumpers call. It was just me, him, and Kirby. And on the call, he realized he was part of the problem that he was dealing with in his head was all out here. It was the other person, right? And he on live, he's like, oh shit, I'm part of the problem too. Right. And I think I'll just say that up front, right? When it comes to this, okay, there's a system, there's a process, there's stuff in place to make sure the right thing is done or is happening. But when it's not happening, guess what? You're part of it. And that's not to say it's not about blame or fault.
Yes.
It's about for real, in every freaking thing we are experiencing, we are at least 1% of the problem, right? And so then taking ownership of that 1%, and again, I'm stealing Sean's stuff here, is where the power to change it comes from. And so having those difficult, and so what does that mean? Difficult conversations makes it easy for us to think about the other person that's supposed to be receiving the conversation or the message.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it also exposes some stuff that needs to be worked on in terms of our relationship with ourselves.
Yes, Jesse, I agree.
Oh man! All right, so we're gonna go in. We got some comments out there.
Okay.
There's Jim. He says it seems the majority of the conversations I have are the difficult conversations. Same here. And I want to come back to that. We'll just start there, Jen. What do you say?
Yes.
And then Miss Christie says, agree. Miss Christie.
I know. We haven't seen her in a while. She got a new position. She's going to be killing some stuff up in the Carolinas. I'm so excited.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Her and Angela, they're like the dynamic duo now, even more so. Let's see. Oh man, we already started a fire out here. Miss Maria says, man, even if there's no difficulty or it was a winning type of situation, there's always something that I could have done better. Amen. Yes. And that's the fact, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you choose to, because we don't have to adopt that thinking, right? You could just continue blaming everybody else. I just have better results when I take ownership. Yes. Josh says, opening Saturday of college football and my Buckeyes in the spotlight. The hard conversation is, how can we pull off this win? 10-4, Josh. What's up, my man? So I want to go back to Jim's comment. It seems the majority of the conversations I have are the difficult conversations. And I'm going to say this. Two things I want to really, really point out. And folks, if LinkedIn is acting funky, find us on YouTube. And our tribe members out there, if you got the link to put it in there, if there's a problem, please help each other out, because I'm not fast enough to do that. Anyways, Jim's comment is, it seems that the majority of the conversations I have are the difficult conversations. And I think there's two main contributors to that, because I feel the same way. Mm-hmm. I think one part is, as we progress in our careers and we have direct reports and we're managing things and we're responsible for stuff, that's kind of the job, is to have difficult conversations, right? And it's easy to think that, man, if everybody just did what they were supposed to do, yeah, sure. But humans are humans. And so I think it's a reality that, and I think it's important to talk about it from that perspective, because it's easy to think that I am defective, or there's something wrong with me, I am less than, and that's why I'm having difficult conversations. It's like, no, when you have a level of responsibility, you have direct reports, influence on a business, you're going to have difficult conversations. And so on both ends, if you're there and you feel like, oh man, I suck because I'm always having these no, that's the job. And also, if you want to be there, right? There's a lot of people that want to be in charge. Like, okay, are you prepared to have difficult conversations? So that's one bucket. Now, the other bucket is kind of the bucket I live in. I decided a long time ago that the best thing I can do for people is point out what I see, especially people with tremendous responsibility and influence, because they're surrounded with people that it's not in their best interest to point out the truth all the time, right?
Yes.
And so I've decided that the best value I can bring is point out the things that most people don't point out. Mm-hmm. And so that choice that I've made adds to me always having difficult conversations, because the truth is, and Jen, you've probably received the majority of these kinds of talks, is like, the truth is, like, I could offend you and you could be pissed off at me, and could cause a rift in the relationship. So there's a risk in having the difficult conversation, but the benefit is greater. So I always go there. And professionally in my business, I could piss them off and they could fire me, which is okay, right? Like I'll get more work, but there's risk. And I think that's what creates the kind of wonkiness around difficult conversation is we don't want to have or deal with the potential consequences of what could happen as a result of like just having the real talk. What do you think about that, Jen?
Well, yes, and all the things you hit. There's like 6 conversations going on in my head right now, and I'm so trying to focus on this one. I think so. A couple of things, high level, is when we're at a place of leadership or we're at a place in our career, where our emotional intelligence is what we have to lead with and we have to think about. The 2 big things for me that have been, I'm gonna say, game changers is, number one, it's my responsibility to have the conversation. And so it's part of what I have to do. And if I shirk away from it because it's uncomfortable, then I'm not fulfilling what I need to do. The other is, and I'm saying this, please, like, don't take it to the extreme, but like when I shifted to just run towards the danger, and I'm going to explain it. When I shifted to like, I just got to go in, have the conversation, whatever happens, happens, but we can't continue to skate around this and then later on go, well, what happened? Well, why did that happen? Why did we do that? Because we're like, maybe it'll just fix itself. Or maybe if I just kind of send this one little message, or maybe if I tell them they should do this, they'll get it. They'll understand it. And I'm not saying people can't do that, but it's our responsibility to just be, say, point blank and tell them, like, here's what I see. And, and here's the problem. And it doesn't mean we have to give them the solutions. We're hoping you give them the solutions, but like that conversation, those conversations are what we're talking about today. How do you get better with your emotional intelligence? 1, to be able to understand your responsibility. And then 2, how do you go run towards the danger and lean into those very sometimes uncomfortable conversations for the bigger value?
Yes. And that's the thing, right? Is getting, and it's what helps me. I love it. Because I'm looking at something bigger, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you stinky observations. I'm going to have the hard conversation because I want to contribute in a deeper way.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because you did something that bugs me, right? Like I'll get like, who gives a shit? Mm-hmm. But when it's a matter of like awareness, like personal awareness, it can help you serve other people better. Yes, I'm going to tell you, because you're going to do that with everybody, and it can help you serve better. And also when you serve better, guess what? You get awesomer opportunities and all the other things. So I love that you put that point on there. It's like the short-term gain of like feeling comfortable and maybe gliding a hint because you don't want to offend them. The short circuits the opportunity of making the massive impact. And so we got some ballers on today. Mr. Uncommon Communicator here says, difficult conversations are always better served earlier than later. Time doesn't make it better. Yes.
Facts.
It just actually, I think it's Jordan Peterson. I stole this quote from him. Conflict avoided is conflict multiplied. Mm-hmm. Right? It doesn't get better with age. Bad news early is good news. Like it's like, and you said it, freaking go after it. Just go down. Maria. Okay, folks. Thank you, Maria. Maria dropped the link. If LinkedIn's acting funky, Maria dropped the link in the chat to go to YouTube. Thank you, sister. And then we got this person.
Well, I feel like there was some stuff in the universe this week because we were just talking about you, Heather. Welcome.
Yeah, Heather, you need to go to your windows and look for fingerprints because Jen was in Oklahoma doing surprise visits, checking on people this weekend. And so, well, you know what? So we got them warmed up. We got them warmed up. Yes. Let's drop a question in the comments. All right, here we go, folks. Omniverse, let us know what you think. What's harder for you? Starting a difficult conversation or staying steady once it begins? I know I got a sermon on this, Jen, but I'm interested to see what the crew out there has to say about that. And as they're kind of calculating their response, I'm going to shout out Mr. Mario coming in from the ATX. Look, this guy, does he even know how awesome he is?
He doesn't. Well, a couple of things. He doesn't know that this whole conversation today was geared from comments he made in the after party 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Beautiful. Mr. Jared, what's up, brother? Everybody's watching football. I didn't even know that was a thing. I'm joking. And then, yes, Maria, it is like compounding interest, right? In the negative sense. Like if we sit on it and let it bubble up and boil up and negative. Oh yeah, look, Chris. So Christy answers the question. Staying steady. That's the challenge. What's harder for you? Starting a difficult conversation or staying steady once it begins? Christy says staying steady. We got starting a difficult conversation is harder. So we're 50-50 right now on the question. Mm-hmm. And so let's give people some, like, where are you on this, Jen? Is it the starting or is it the staying?
It's absolutely the staying.
Okay.
And I think going back to the difficult conversations and the things, and you say this, you help me like kind of see things that I wouldn't normally see. So for me, sometimes those could be difficult. You mentioned it, that saying things to people, you don't know how they're going to react. And you've had some things to me like, here's what I'm seeing. Maybe you may not like what I'm about to say. And then you tell me, like, to me, that's the initial, the start the conversation. And I think that that part is easier for me because I don't have a really good filter. And not, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing for me. I know early in my career, and I'm going to give a shout out to Marshall, but we were somewhere, I don't know what it was. It was probably, 7 or 8 years ago, probably. And we're sitting somewhere after a big event and we're talking and I'm just like unloading, like da 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 da. And he looks at me and he says, Jennifer, you're just mean. And I love my people. I love them. Like I love them with everything. But it was one of those moments where, it was in jest and we were finishing, but I walked away going, he knows me. And if that's what he got from the things I was saying, because I was calling him out and I was like pointing at this and we should be doing that, whatever it was, I was like, whoa, like, then other people probably get the same thing, even though that's not what I'm intending. So it was a really good wake up call for me on, even though I am unfiltered and I will start any conversation with anybody and call it out, how do I do that? And what is the best way to do that? So for me, starting the conversation, easy. Again, because I have my hands in a lot of things, it's not an excuse, but then I don't, I don't follow up well, or I don't check on it, or I don't make sure, hey, are we still moving in the right direction?
Yeah. Oh, but man, there's a lot there. Like, it's funny, right? Because having the conversation, what I've observed, this is not my problem, but what I've observed is we delay having the conversation.
Right.
And it's big, it's monumental because we make it this thing. And I'll talk more about that here in a bit. But what's worse is what we do after or what we don't do after the conversation. Yeah. So maybe that might be a whole other series.
It might not be the next one.
Right. But we got some good comments in here. Yes. So Heather says her thing is starting the conversation. And I kind of feel, my assumption is this: the majority of folks struggle with starting the conversation. Like, sure, once it's going to be wonky. It doesn't matter. Mario says 50-50. It's hard to start. And once it starts, it's hard to stay steady. I have a couple of cheat codes that I want to present to people to kind of help mitigate the racing heart. This is something I came across in my coaching of teams. And then Maria, she says she sweats and her voice shakes if it's difficult enough. Fair. The trick for her is choosing who to have the conversations with and how I keep my peace. Not everyone can or will meet you to have a conversation. Agreed. So maybe let's start there, right? You got to filter. I know too many people that feel like they need to point out what they don't like about me. And I appreciate it, right? But if you're telling me what you don't like, I kind of, that doesn't do anything for me. I can't do anything with that unless I really want to do everything that you like, right? And so going around and telling everybody what I see all the time is it's wasted energy, right? So I know the people, right, that I've actively decided to like invest in and pour into. And so I don't know, maybe even strategic about who I invest that kind of energy towards. I also know there's a bunch of people that say they want feedback and want help but when I give them feedback, they're like they get all defensive and well, that's not really like, oh, you don't want help. So Maria, that's a fantastic point, right? Like have an idea of who can. Now, when we're in a formal like business relationship and I'm your freaking boss, we're gonna have the conversation. That's my job. If you're a boss and you have direct reports, it's your job to have difficult conversations. You don't get to pick, like Maria already knows, right?
Yes.
That's my philosophy. Feed hungry. Unless it's your job, then you got to do your damn job. And taking that upstream, managing up is something that I think that has contributed dramatically to my careers, having the willingness, or maybe just the total cluelessness about telling people what I see, right? Even though they might fire my ass. But so back to the thing, right? Of the starting the conversation. It's real easy, I think, to have the conversation because it's never as big as I think it's going to be. Never. And now the way to the problem is when we delay and we put time and, well, I don't know, I need to craft the conversation. Let me get some input. Let me get some feedback. Let me talk to ChatGPT. We make it bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so we have all these assumptions that we've already built into our consciousness so that when we go have the conversation, we're like battle ready. Like I'm going to be ready for everything, which just adds to, I'll say, the tension or the conflict or potential for conflict because we've built it up so big. And a simple example, I've done it, and so I know, back in the day when I was a foreman, what drives me crazy is people being late, especially if we have a job, right? Like if you have a job, like a real job, there's a start time. And at start time, we start. And so what I would do, there was always, one or two people that habitually late. And I knew it, like they were late once, and then they proved that they're going to be late consistently. But I wouldn't have the conversation, all right, until I was pissed. So I would let that issue, that thing, the violation, we'll just call it a violation. I would let that violation persist and build. And every time it's like, ooh, I got more ammo. I got more ammo. I got more ammo. And then I'd blow up on them, right? And so structurally, could I terminate them? No. Did I want to? Hell yes. So where did I break the process? I should have had a conversation with them the first time to explain right? Then I should have had another conversation and this time document and be clear, like, look, dude, the behavior hasn't changed. I got to document this and this is going to go in the file. So then when they do it the third time, here's the issue. And this is actually a formal write-up. These are the consequences of you not changing your behavior. Then the next step, okay, you did it again. Now we're going to suspend you. Next one, termination. And that's 4 steps. That's kind of a pain in the ass. That fool was way late, was more than 4 times, but because I failed to have the conversation and just decided to lose my mind over it, I couldn't do anything about it technically within, the confines of what I was dealing with. And so I share that example because if you just have the conversation the first time it happens, it's easier and it's smaller. Like, hey, man, and it doesn't have to be reciting the damn policy. It could just be, Jen, you were late today. What happened? Is there anything that we need to do so that you can be here? Like, is everything cool? Oh, shit. He pays attention to that. right? That gives you a chance to change your behavior. But we make it super, super big. That's the main point. Do you ever have that, Jen, making things bigger in your head than they actually really are?
I'm doing better. Let's start with that. I'm doing better. And you said a couple things that I want to point out because I think they're super important, is when we delay and we wait because of what we're anticipating it can be, there is no way you can have the conversation without personal emotion. I'm just going to say that. So if you can, when you start, and it's practice, like I want to say this, and Josh had a good point, and I think it's, as we're doing this, where you'll learn, like it's practice. And it's, the more you do it, the better you're going to get at it. You're not going to be great or perfect all the time because people are not great and perfect all the time. And so you're dealing with humans, whether it's you or the other person. And if they're in a defensive place, they're going to bring emotion into it, which makes it more important that you don't bring emotion into it, because when you got two emotional people trying to tackle something, it's just not going to happen. And so what I've realized is when you do run towards the danger, have the conversation, still take a moment to go, here's the issue. Here's what I'm trying to address. And here's what, whatever the steps are, here's what I expect. Here's what we need to do. And look at it. And I have to type it, but I look at what I'm about to address. Is there emotion in it? Is there personal emotion? My feelings, I'm angry, I'm mad, I'm frustrated, like things like that. And I'm not saying those things aren't important. And sometimes they may have to be woven in there, but like, look at it first. Because if you've waited, like you said, Jesse, weeks and weeks and weeks to address something, and then like no respect and I'm pissed and all these things, like part of that's on you. Part of that is on you. You're the one that didn't address this 4 or 5 weeks ago. So like you said, that 1%, maybe 5%, maybe 20%, I contributed to this.
Yeah.
And so that I want to make that point, and I'll probably get into it more on the show, but like as a parent, that is the hardest thing to put in my brain on. I want to be mad and angry and address bad behavior, but I have had to learn, how did I contribute to this?
Because you're at least 1%.
I mean,
right?
yes.
At least 1% of the problem.
Yes.
And look, Sarah's feeling guilty. She's like, oh shit, I'm being called out for being late. We're not actually, Sarah. We were talking at the beginning of the call about the live stream you had yesterday on Boy Bass with Danella and Sean, and this is kind of like a serendipitous continuation of that conversation, having the hard conversations. So I'm going to give my cheat code to people before I start running all over the place. And so I already talked about the hard conversation, right? Heather says timing matters and affects my ability to stay steady. I have to be in charge of my emotions, which requires me to feel safe, which kind of echoes what you just said, Jen, right? It's like filter out the emotion. I don't have a problem with filtering out, like, okay, how much of this is fact? These are facts. What's all this other stuff? Oh, that's just my feelings. Or that's just my concern about their feelings.
Yeah.
Right? Erase, delete. Here are the facts. Let's talk about this. And so cheat code number 1, shorten the amount of time between the issue, the behavior, the violation, and the freaking conversation. Do it wrong, do it messy, just do it. The more time that you put in between observing the thing and having the conversation, you make it bigger than what it actually is. Period. And I've done chingos of write-ups. The guys used to joke that my house was wallpapered with all of the write-ups, performance write-ups that I did with, because it was easy for me. Anyways, so cheat code number 1, close the time duration between the violation and the action you take to have the hard conversation. Cheat code number 2. And I used to know when I'm having the hard, difficult conversation with people and they would rebuttal, I used to, or facilitating sessions and people are like, well, what about that? And where's the data? Like all that stuff, right? I used to take it as a personal attack. I used to take it as them telling me I was wrong or that they disagreed with what I was saying. And then eventually I'm like, you know what is I've decided to take that when they're rebutting or, you know, explaining their case or whatever. I'm like, you know, what's actually happening is they're reconciling what my observation is with the truth that they've been experiencing. So it doesn't matter what they're saying in terms of like, they're really not, maybe they are rejecting me. But if I decide that they are, then it becomes a friction, like, no, you're wrong. No, you're wrong. And then we start, you know, battling. But when I decide like, oh, okay, like you get to vent and then disagree and defend, like, go ahead. Which to me is a clear signal that they're making sense of it for themselves and figuring out how to calibrate or recalibrate their behavior going forward, which for me, because I decided again, and you can decide this just like everybody decided to stop believing in Santa Claus, you can decide to believe that their rebuttal, their whatever, right? Their mouth noise is the evidence of them reconciling and recalibrating to meet the expectation. And so what does that also mean? That also means when they ain't saying nothing, now you got a real problem, right? Like, okay, there's nothing coming back. Like, okay, they either don't give a shit or they're going to punch me in the face. What do you think about my little cheat code, Jen?
Well, yes, I agree with all of that. And it goes along with, and then we've talked about this before, but when I have people that are resisting things that I'm trying to do, for the longest time, they're resisting me. And as soon as my mind shifted and they're resisting the change that I represent, or they're resisting the change of what they're being asked to do, it's not personal, then it's a completely different conversation.
Yes.
So it's that piece, but it's also, and I know like everyone knows this, but I want to just make the statement. Everyone is entitled to their opinions. Like you can like it, not like it. You can believe in it. It can be your morals, values. You could not care. And I don't get to impose my opinions that you have to believe in. Right. Just like they can have an opinion that they don't agree with you. They can have an opinion that you're wrong. Like there's no reason to fight those things. They are entitled to their opinions, depending on your role. If you're in a leadership position, if it's your subordinate, if it's things like that, obviously they can have their opinion. You don't have to fight their opinions. You can just stick to the facts and keep moving forward. But like we fight opinions, and like with my kids, with like people can feel hurt. They can feel that, they can feel like you did something. You are not in a place ever to tell someone they don't have the right to feel something.
Right. Oh, yes. 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 I used to make that like, why are you mad? What's wrong? What are you thinking? What are like, let them feel and think whatever they're feeling and thinking. Like that, they're freaking you. I'm telling this to the Omniverse. You do not get a vote on how I feel.
No.
Do you impact how I feel? Absolutely. You do not get to tell me how to feel. Like, and I'm going to add to that. Whenever people, it doesn't happen very often because I'm a hermit, but whenever people tell me like, well, you should be grateful, you should be happy, you should be upset, you should be like, right? I'm like, I should what? Like, don't tell me how to feel. Mm-hmm. But when we're having these hard conversations, we kind of want to soften it. Like, you shouldn't be upset. This is a good thing. I'm going to tell you, you tell me that, you done pissed me off because I feel minimized. Because I feel what I'm hearing is you shouldn't, you're feeling wrong. Mm-hmm. Your feelings are wrong. And then that escalates. But Miss Heather.
I just want to add one more point. I mean, again, we're saying the same things. And it is a sign of your growth and evolution when you are having a hard conversation with someone. It may not even be a hard conversation. You're having a hard conversation with someone and they tell you, I don't agree with this. I don't like this. I'm not bought into this. And your response is that they're allowed to do that. They're allowed to feel those ways. And I even respect that I appreciate you sharing with me that you're not bought into this. Now, what are we going to do? It is
Right.
a sign of growth and evolution in your role as a leader when you can acknowledge it and not let it just tear you apart.
Yes, I love it. Right. That again, back to that, your relationship with yourself. Heather, again, rebuttals are not an attack. They are the other person reconciling the situation. Right.
Great.
Like, okay, you don't agree? Awesome. And we got to move forward. So what are we going to do to move forward?
Absolutely.
Mr. Josh says the hard conversations are just the cost of growth. The delivery of the hard conversation is where you can make it or break it. This has to be a custom delivery. Yeah, actually, that's a phenomenal point. Not one size fits all, right? You got to get personal. You got to get one-on-one. So, Jen, do you recommend, I thought I heard somewhere that you recommend sending texts when you have to have a difficult conversation.
No. Well, and for me, there's multiple reasons why. One, I'm raising 2 teenage daughters. And so, I'm going to just start with that they live in this texting world, but I also know that the phone they text with is also the phone that connects them to everything else. And so if I'm about to have a hard conversation, maybe it's calling them out, maybe it's, having to tell them that I got some news that we need to talk about it because it's probably not going to end well. I don't need them to have access to anybody else to get some backup or to make sure that they know who said what so that they can come into the story and have all their, I don't need their ducks in a row when they come, when I confront them. I need to know raw, real, here's where we are, how are you going to respond? And so I say that as a parent, but also when you do emails and texts and stuff to try to, hey, we need to have a conversation because so-and-so said da-da-da-da-da, you are giving them a lot of opportunities. And I'm not saying good, bad, or different. I'm not judging that piece. You're giving them a lot of that space to go and get all their defense together and to get all their posse together to go, no, you're whatever. And to me, that is not the point of the hard conversation. If I have a problem with you, Jesse, and I know that we just need to have this. It's going to suck. It may not be good, but if I give you, 2 or 3 days, you go talk to Adam, you go talk to people and talk about, Jennifer she's, then it's not a real conversation because now you're bringing in all these other things that probably weren't even relevant. But that's what people do. They got to get their, their guard up, and they've got to get their accomplices with them so that they can justify something. It's going to make it harder. It's going to make the conversation harder. It's going to make the fix harder, and even to get to the other side of it harder when now they've done all this, and then they're going to have to then overcome all that also. So I'm not passionate about that at all, but I do not like. I like face-to-face conversations on hard ones.
Well, and I'm going to add to that, right? Sure, that deal of people saying, oh, shit, let me go build my defense. I'm going to add what also happens is people fill in all the space between the letters with assumptions and insecurities.
Absolutely.
And which gets their arms up, gets their defense up, and they paint this big, giant, enormous picture because all the blank space they fill it with their assumptions and insecurities, and it creates a disaster. I mean, I'll bet money everybody on this live stream, and the lurkers included, and the people that watch the replay have gotten a text or been in a text or email exchange where they were pissed off and firing off and filling all this crap emotion into what was on the thing, and it wasn't even meant that way. You're either on the receiving end and you were reacting, or you've sent it and offended people because they filled in the blanks. I know for me, when I started using email, the guys would they're like, Jess, they would call me like, are you pissed? I'm like, no, why? They're like, why? Just your email. I'm like, okay. So I started doing little happy faces, thinking hey guys, I want y'all to know that I'm not pissed. I'm just communicating. Guess what happened? Jesse, why are you being a smart ass? Like, guys, I don't know what to do here. It's just the communication. It's just the words. All the other stuff that you're putting in it's not there. And so back to your point, I really avoid having hard like if it's going to take more than 3 sentences for me to communicate what I need to communicate on an email, I'm going to record a video. Or I'm going to call you, right? Like if it, like, I'm not going to write a long ass email, like done. If I can't make it fit there, you're going to get a link to a video so that you can understand that I'm smiling and I'm happy and you don't fill it in with all your garbage.
And I want to add one more, because I feel like there's people in the audience that can relate to this, is it's our responsibility. I'm going to keep using that word because you've got to own some of this. That growing up, you got to go to the principal's office. Growing up, when your dad gets home. Growing up, the anxiety, like whether you're going to own it or not, it's in you, of like these, what's going to happen, and I don't know exactly, what, like all of those things are in us. And some of those will come out. So it is our responsibility. And I've literally been on the receiving end of, hey, while you're in town, we're gonna get a meeting with you and blah, 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 blah. And these people are people that can dictate my career. Yep. I can make decisions on where I'm at and what I'm doing. And that's it. That's the only information I got. So it is our responsibility that if we need to have a hard conversation with someone and you know that you can't have it right now, like, don't let their anxiety and everything cause it to be a bigger thing than it needs to be, because part of that's on us. Part of it's we give it to them and they can make it be about 1,000 things because they don't know what you know. But the other thing is it's our responsibility. If we need to sit down and have a conversation, hey, based on this, like again, we need to provide that. I mean, I've been on it in a little more personal, but like last year I got a mammogram, and I got a result that said, hey, abnormality, you need to come back and we need to do one a little more, intensive. Well, that's scary. And then it was the week of Thanksgiving. So they're like, we can't get you until after Thanksgiving. So how do you think my Thanksgiving went? Like it was a horrible week. I was sick. I was like, heaven knows what's about to happen. And then I go in the next week, they do the follow-up. They're like, oh, it's just a cyst. It's no big deal. It'll go away. But like to me, I mean, that's a hard conversation, but also like what it did to me, because they just didn't provide more information.
Yeah, no context. Well, and on that note, right, maybe you got ding-dongs like me, where if you don't give me any more information, my immediate assumption is it's a freaking party celebration because of how awesome I am. And if you're like going to have a hard conversation with me, I'm going to be like, what? Where did this come from? Like, yeah. So we know human nature, we're going to fill the blanks with our assumptions and insecurities. And so as a leader, don't leave room for assumptions and insecurities, right? Like, I think that would be a good practice. Our brother Jim says, I feel most of these live streams are calling me out. But I think, I get it. This is amazing. Thank you, Jim. Because a lot of the folks out there in the Omniverse say that, like, man, when y'all talk, you talk about stuff like that. I think you're talking about me or my company or my boss or whoever, right? What I receive that is as a signal that we just have high integrity people in the tribe, because they're examining, how does this apply to me? When have I done this? How can I do better based on what this conversation is? So Jim is one of those 1%ers, right? I take that as a signal that he's saying I'm at least 1% of the problem. And I think if everybody did that, we'd be way more gooder. And so I'm going to share the next question. We got 12 minutes.
Before you do that, I want to add to what you just said is also, it is why all of our conversations come from conversations with our tribe. So we don't have this master plan over the next 12 months. Here's the topics we're going to cover. It literally, like, it kind of evolves and comes out and surfaces from these conversations, from our after party conversations, from a conversation we had with someone. And then we're like, oh, we got to dig into that. And I think that also feeds into why people are like, dang, this is about me. And sometimes it is because you are the one that came up with the topic.
Yes. Amen. And actually, I love another thought. We've had this little new feature where we have all the comments kind of popping up on the screen. is that cool? Is it dumb? What do y'all think? Let us know, because I think it's cool, but I don't know what the experience is on the other side for the tribe members. So let me know in the comments. So here's the question. How do you balance being honest without being hurtful? Right? So there's a Milo, and Milo always brings OG wisdom or insight to the comment. He's got a comment I'm going to read. But folks out there in the Omniverse, how do you balance being honest with being hurtful? I have my answer. I wonder if anybody could guess it. But so I'm going to go to Milo. Milo says the reason why one would have a difficult conversation in the first place, in my opinion, is so that there's a better understanding as to whether the different parties are standing on the issue, as to make sure there are no misunderstandings or assumptions. And once there's a clear understanding, the path forward is clear. Ideally, it's about being kind as opposed to nice as a matter of fact. Completely agree, Milo. Always dropping bombs. And so, Jen, what do you think about this being honest without being hurtful thing? I mean, well, maybe you already admitted, right? People are telling you you're being mean. Maybe we know where you stand.
Well, it was a good wake up call, because again, the way that I look at things, and my first filter is always, is it honest? Is it real? Like that's always been like, am I being honest in what I'm saying? Like, I'm not taking in all these other things. Am I being honest? And then I had to, based on that one conversation, is I had to learn to evaluate what I'm about to say. Is it kind? And that doesn't mean that it's not honest. I need it to be both. And to do that, sometimes it's how I deliver it. So go back to Josh says, like, the delivery can make or break it. Like I am bought into that 1,000%, because there are times where I have to have hard conversations and I say things, and in the end, like they thank me, and they're not good. They're not great conversations, but in the end, because of the realness of it, the honesty of it, and that it was kind. It wasn't attacking. It wasn't accusatory. It was just a conversation where that's a human and I'm a human, and we make mistakes and nobody's perfect, and we need to see how we can do something better. And if I can think about those things as I am delivering it, as I'm asking questions, because that's a huge piece of it, how am I helping them to be able to get to a better place, or to change a behavior? Is it real? Is it honest? And is it kind? Those are my filters.
Okay. I can dig it. So we got some good stuff up here. Actually, first, Miss Sarah says she likes it. She likes the little text box, whatever it is. All right, we'll keep it going until we hear otherwise. James, love it. Mr. Jim says, never make it personal, right? That's like a skill.
Yes. You have to practice it over and over again.
Because I think of it this way. I expect them to take it personally.
Yeah.
They get to, you said it earlier, they get to feel the feelings. I don't get to make it personal. I don't get to take it personal. I got to filter out my feelings, focus on the facts. If I'm the one initiating the conversation, and accept, they're probably going to be offended. They're going to be pissed. They're going to be angry. They're going to whatever. And they get to, which again takes me back to, that's good, because they're reconciling what this new information that they got with how they can adjust and adapt to go forward. Good point, Mr. Jim. Maria's got another one. She said, if it's not something the person can fix or that they actively chose, I don't speak on it. Like acne, excellent example, or their choice in spouse, right? Which is interesting. I think that's healthy. Now, I've also had actually really good friends back in the day. One of my marriages, after the marriage ended, some of my really, really closest friends were like, bro, like, we knew this was going to happen. I'm like, oh, did you? Right? Like, thanks for telling me now. And so, what I like about Maria's comment is, even in our like just friendly relationships, I will say something like, hey, now it's, again, I have a different filter for like who I would have this type of conversation with. But when I've seen people in relationships that are unhealthy for them, I will say so, right? Like, hey, these things that I see, here's what it looks like, and here's what my experience was with it. I want to point it out to you now because it could get worse, or it could have these negative outcomes. I still love you. That other person that you chose, I'm still going to be cool with them. But I just want to make sure you may not be seeing this, and this is what I see. Right? Again, so maybe that's another cheat code there. I don't have an expectation for them to make a decision or adjust, like on that personal stuff. But I feel I have a responsibility to point at it. Because if I don't point at it and then I tell them the way down the road, like, no shit, there was a fire. I knew it was going to be full. Well, good for you, Nostradamus. Like, lots of help you were. So we got a question from my brother Ernest. He says, but where do we delineate who can't fix before it's pure passing judgment? That's actually a good question. So I think of it, and specifically on this judgment thing, when we can't bother to understand, all we can do is judge, right? So if I haven't run through the paces of like, why would they do this? Where's this behavior coming from? What is my contribution to the situation? That's my attempt at understanding. And I know that when I walk through those paces of trying to understand the behavior, not accept it or enable it, just to understand why might this be happening, the likelihood that I'm judging somebody is very small. Now, and I know because I do it, I still do it. When something happens and I'm bam, here's the thing, I didn't bother to understand. I just judged their ass. Right. And so it's not a question, and maybe you're asking something differently, Ernest, but how do we delineate who can or can't? I don't care who can or can't. My commitment is to serve my people. Whether they can or can't is their deal to manage. Now, as a manager, like formal manager, I also don't care who can or can't, because they need to. And if they don't, they get to go work somewhere else. So, we asked this question, Jen, and I'm wondering if the tribe out there, how do you balance being honest without being hurtful? Where do you think I am on this, Jen? If you had to describe to people how I balance honest and hurt and kind, where am I?
On the spectrum, I would say, you said honest or kind. I would say you are the farthest to honest that you could be. That is that's my take.
I love it. Yes. And thank you. Look, I got a thumbs up from the Ernest. Thank you, my brother. I believe that being honest is kind, right? Like, I'm going to be as respectful as I know how to be. And you nailed it. I'm going to be as honest as I can be. And I think if I polish it up and put pillows on it and, like, that is not kind. That's bullshit, because I'm leaving wiggle room. And then if you go and do the thing again and it gets you in trouble or has a negative outcome, I'm responsible for that because I freaking cuddled you. I think being honest, again, without expectation, right? Like, unless you report to me, unless you're my boss, unless I'm your boss, then you kind of need to change the behavior. But I don't have anybody that reports to me. And so here's the thing, you get to do what you want with it. But I know for me that if I am not as clear and direct as I can be, I have underserved you. Is there risk with that? Hell yes. But you said this earlier, even when I had a real job and I was, doing write-ups and all that bullshit, there was only one write-up that I did, and I've done like easily 100. There was only one write-up that I did where the person got like offended. Actually, he got it, crumbled it up, threw it on the floor, stomped on it, and he said, "I've been here 15 years. I've never been written up." And I was like, "Well, that don't mean that you shouldn't have been written up." Mm-hmm. And pissed, and I let him go, walk it off. He comes back later. He said, "Where's that stupid paper?" "Yeah, I shouldn't have done it." He signs the thing, all wrinkled and shit. But the majority of the conversations I had with people was, "Bro, thanks for bringing it up, right? Thanks for pointing it out. I didn't realize, because I had dates and all the thing. I didn't realize it was that far out of control. I have this thing." Or even people that I've terminated later, they're like, "Dude, I used to hate your guts, but thank you for that, because it helped change the way I think." And so my point is, yeah, it's uncomfortable. Yes, there's a little bit of scariness in there. But being honest and direct, for me, batting almost 1,000, that people appreciate it on the back end. They may not appreciate it right there in the moment, but on the back end, yes, absolutely.
I think Jared had a comment too that plays into what you're. I mean, everything we're saying, but I feel like he just. Let me see if I can find it here.
Jared, I don't have.
It says that conversation needs to come through not as an attack, but as coaching. I like to use an example to start with, something I struggled with at some point in my career that they can relate to, then move into how they can improve and what I am seeing as an issue.
Yeah. Solid. That one didn't come on through on mine. Anyways. All right. Well, we are at the top of the hour, which means it is time for the random. So let's see who is going to. Did anybody bribe you this week, Jen?
No, I didn't get but I mean, I take bribes even after.
All right.
I do have a free come join us and see what we do, because of being one of the top 3 last time. So if after this, you don't know what this is, but you love to hang out with more cool people, just reach out to me. I'm happy to gift you with my free pass for next week.
Oh yeah, because you were one of the challenge winners.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Oh, Maria Martin, who is already a member. Maria, I'll send you the links. And because you are a frequent offender, repeat offender, you can share it with somebody, give it away, or do what you will with it. All right. So this has been a fun conversation, nice. Jennifer. See, let's see. Oh, okay. So I think we'll go transfer to kind of like a closing question.
Yes, that'd be good.
And if you wouldn't mind like extending your wisdom a little longer so I can put the after party link in the chat.
Okay.
I would love that. That would be super duper awesome.
Happy to.
Let me bring the question up. Here it is.
Okay. So question is, would you rather have a tough conversation over coffee, on a walk, or through text? So part of it I've already answered. So I already know that through text is absolutely not on my list at all. And so that we are challenging everyone in the audience. Please give us your thoughts on this. And if there's another one that we didn't put in this is how I like to do it. Whatever that looks like, put that in the chat so that we can recognize those answers. But I think for me, one, it's got to be in person, and it's hard because I'm not everywhere in person. But the next best thing is face to face. So one, the hard conversations, they can see me. We can have we can interact a little bit. And you know how I am about nonverbal stuff. Like that is huge for me when it comes to nonverbal, communication and how people react and how they're listening, not listening, paying attention. They're really receptive to what you're saying. Like all of those things play into having hard conversations. And so I want to emphasize that, having those face-to-face, in-person conversations, even over video with cameras on, they're able, like you said, to not put words in between words, or they're not being able to make assumptions, because I pay attention. And some of you may look and go, why is she looking at me all crazy like that? But if I'm having a conversation with you, I am watching. And if there's something in your little furrow on your face that makes me think you don't understand what I'm saying, you're confused, you're angry, something's happening, I will immediately address that, because I definitely don't want there to be confusion when we finish the conversation, or I wasn't clear, or you are very elevated. We may need to stop this right now and then continue it later. So there's a lot of, for me, nonverbal when it comes to hard conversations. That is our responsibility here. Is that if I want to come in and have a hard conversation, and we're going to do this because we need to get it done, and what I'm seeing on the other person is that they are not taking it well, or they are not in a place where they're receiving it, anything else I say, I'm wasting my time. If they're not in a place to be able to receive the things that I'm saying.
Damn, gangsta. Look, you started up. We got a bunch of comments out there. Oh man. All right, let's see what we got. Okay. So I just put the link to the after party and all the things. So folks, YouTube, all the stuff. So please join the after party so we can continue the conversation, learn from you guys, and get to know each other a lot more gooder. All right, so walk. Maria says, I like to walk. Science says it's easier and helps your body remain calm because it has something to do with the energy. Okay, nice. Jim says, comment on the comment window. In the beginning of the live streams, all of the comments added a lot. Oh, thank you. Okay, so this is about the little comment window that we added. Thank you. Have them spread across different platforms. Took some of the peel away. Having all the comments in one place is extremely beneficial. That's one of those difficult conversations I've been waiting to bring up. Because thank you, Jim, freaking awesome. We used to just live stream from No BS, and then we kind of spread it out, which kind of diluted the conversation. But now with this little feature, it kind of, what I'm understanding is it's bringing it back. So thank you a lot for that.
Thank you, Jim, for the difficult comment.
Yeah. Difficult conversations, baby, right there. Sarah says, over coffee. I don't want to be out of breath on a walk. And it needs to be face-to-face, right? So, okay, I could dig it. Dr. Carey, also over coffee, but just realize the benefits of walking to decrease stress and increase relaxation. Man, you're converting some walkers here. We got another one, coffee. So coffee, oh, here we go. Jared says on a walk. So he's talking job site. On a walk or riding the cart around a job site. Got to tone down the outside noise and get away from distractions. Yes, agreed. I want it one-on-one. Now, if that's over coffee, I don't care, right? Like, oh, hell yeah. Like if you're down for coffee, like, hey, I'm going to chew your ass. I'm buying me coffee. Shit, I'm down for that, right? But for me, what's most important is it's one-on-one, right? Like, hey, I'll do it over the phone. I'll do video call. I'll do it in person. I think all three are just fine, right? I know there's a lot of feelings about, well, if it's not face-to-face, like, okay, fine. If that's you, that's you. I'm fine not having it. But here's the thing. I will have either already understood how that person best feels appreciated. Like if they don't feel slighted by me making a phone call to have the hard conversation, then I will do that. But if they read into that for some reason, because you know how, because people are funny, right? Oh, I could handle feedback. You have the hard conversation. Their first thing is going to be, well, he didn't do it face to face. He did it over the phone. Like, fuck, okay, man. Right. Like, okay. And so my point is, I apply energy to understand what the person's tolerance is, right? Or maybe sensitivity is. If they really, really need an in-person thing, I will do an in-person. Hell, I've flown to a different state to do a quarterly performance review for one person, because I knew that person really valued in-person stuff. And I knew the other persons were like, whatever, man, it's a formality. We talk all the time. Like, oh, okay, so we could do it on Teams. Yeah, sure. No problem. So again, my point in that is I really put in work to understand what would best serve that person. If they're down for like a phone call, we're going to have the phone call. If it's got to be a video call because it's a little, whatever, fine, it'll be a video call. But if it's like it has to be in person, then I will do it in person. And coffee can be involved in all of those. Walking, I've never tried walking to have a hard conversation. Maybe after I've had hard conversations because I want to choke people out. Like, even though I'm talking like, just understand that they're reconciling the thing and recalibrating, that doesn't mean that I don't feel some kind of way. I get pissed. But it's like, nope, not right now, Jess. Afterwards, then maybe I'll absolutely go for a walk to calm down. What do you think?
Well, yes. I mean, I agree with all of those things. I think for me, walking, if I have to be on the phone, so it's not, I can't have and you and I talk on the phone a lot. So and I'm walking, I'm in a better place to receive. And that's going to be part of my closing. That may be the next conversation. But for me, like when I'm not in a very structured place, like I can, like, my body allows myself to receive it better for some reason.
Yes. That's a good. Well, so the self-awareness thing. So we got about 4 minutes left. Look, Sarah. All right, my sister. Face-to-face can be on camera. I agreed. So we got 3 minutes, and then we'll log off, and then we're going to have the after party. I'd love to hear all you folks out there, what your thoughts were on today's stuff. Hopefully you got some enormous value, because there is a lot of value in the comments in terms of people sharing stuff. I think Heather put something, Nimsu. I don't know what that means. Like, I'm like, oh, what is that? What does that mean? How do I apply it? But that's not what this live stream is for. The after party can be for that. I think, so Maria says it, we listen and we don't judge, right? So a couple of things that I want to slap people with, or maybe just one thing. If the hard conversations are a problem for you, you need to look inward. What is your relationship with yourself? Evaluate why you feel the way you feel about having those conversations, why you feel and experience what you feel and experience when you're having those conversations. Because I promise it's a you thing. And so what story are you telling yourself? Where the apprehensions come from? What is the expectations that you're adding to the thing that that are like unnecessary? What assumptions are you building into the cracks and the blank space? What insecurities are you wrapping all of that in? It 100% look inward, and it'll make the harder conversations easier. What do you got, Jen?
Oh my gosh. So this is under the umbrella of hard conversations, but we've talked a lot today about our role and our responsibility as a leader having those conversations. And I just want to pepper some other things out there on, sometimes there are hard conversations from people that it doesn't matter. So we're on the receiving end of someone telling us something, giving us an opinion, giving us their thoughts or something they've seen, and it doesn't matter. And so I just want to hit on that. And I'm going to put it together on, I've had some aha moments in the last couple of months, not because it started with Jesse, a conversation with Jesse. Then I was having a conversation with my daughter my teenage daughter on her getting wound up about somebody making a comment. And I said, well, okay, who is she? Who is this person? What do they do? How do they impact this? We went through all these things. I said, so you've given her power for you to come home and be so upset and you can't do this and you're so mad, and she has no impact on anything other than she made a comment. And as I'm talking to her, I get done. And then I go, well, damn it, Jennifer, like you do that crap all the time and you allow people to have power over your feelings and you're getting wound up, and poor Jesse has to hear it from me when I'm wound up about something, and it doesn't matter. Like it literally doesn't matter. They have no power, no control over doing anything that I'm doing other than they hurt my feelings or they said something that like is not what I represent, or they made a statement that wasn't true. And I allowed it to have power over how I was reacting and how I wasted my time having a whole conversation with Jesse over something that like it didn't matter. So like, please, even when you're on the receiving end of some of these things, and that may be the next show, but like stop and have a moment. Are you giving someone power over your emotions, over your responses, over the way that you're acting and feeling when they have no power in any way? Like, please, like, put yourself through that thought process before you respond.
Tenfold. There you go. Jen look, Sarah said, yes. Alan said, oh man, here's a link on Instagram. Y'all got Alan, miss you, brother. I hope you're doing phenomenal. And we got Muhammad Rabah. He says, nice to meet you all. Nice to meet you, friend. I think he's a blue heart. Y'all already swarm. The link to the after party is in the chat and on the thing and all the other things. So hopefully you're there. And we will see y'all next time.